Welcome back to Whilton Mill, where our penultimate final out on track are the senior X30s. Now, these experienced drivers always offer up some great racing. And excitingly this weekend, Lando Norris's social media brand, Team Quadrant, are here. And so I caught up with their driver earlier on, Steve Brown.
I'm Steve Brown. I'm racing in Senior X30 for Dan Holland Racing.
Steve, great to see you here this weekend. Tell us about your journey, how it's come to be that you're with UKC, and a little bit more about Quadrant, the team that's on your kart there.
Sure, yeah, it's been a long old road from maybe 15 years ago. I was racing in Mini Max, Junior Max, then I did a lot of years in higher karting, and then now with Quadrant, we've decided to jump back into the deep end here at the UKC in Senior X30.
And just tell us exactly what Quadrant is all about. It's a collective and it's all to do with YouTube.
Yes, it's a collective of, there's 5 of us, Lando Norris plus 4 others. We create our own YouTube content on our own channel, sell merchandise. So it's just a big brand that encapsulates racing and apparel and our love for racing. And we made a video with Lando and myself a couple of months ago. We raced against each other around here. And that video really took off, and off the back of that, they decided, okay, we're gonna sponsor you for a year in UKC and see how you get on. And
so far, so good. We've only had a couple of rounds of practice here this morning at Whilton Mill, but how are you finding it?
I still have a tendency to steer a bit too harsh into the corners, which is what I'm used to from higher karting. So it's really a case of just dialing that out, and I'm not too far away from being solidly at least in the midfield and having a good fight.
It was actually Lando looking at your own YouTube videos before you joined Quadrant. So you yourself were, an established YouTube kart racing star before Quadrant came along.
Yeah, sure. So I was doing a lot of higher kart series called Club 100 before this, and making videos on that. And that series did really well. And I think Lando and his management were looking, for people to join Quadrant. They enjoyed the fact that I was doing the karting, but also the sim racing. So an element of real and sim. And, they contacted me last summer to get involved and be part of it. And, it's gone from strength to strength so far. And, here we are now. They're sponsoring me to do a whole season of UKC, which is amazing. I didn't think I'd step back into owner-driver karting, but it's incredible, the opportunities they've given me so far.
Yeah, it really is. Sort of brings a broader question as well for youngsters coming through, the power of social media, the power of YouTube to, you found yourself in a great position with Lando Norris, but every driver here from a young age needs to, start nailing the YouTube, nailing the Instagram, because you need that sponsorship.
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking, even in football transfers, they consider the value of how much social media following the players have, and it's probably the same in Formula One. So yeah, if you can get behind the social media, get that working really well, that can massively count in your favour. Drawing in sponsors, because of the amount of views I can get. Quadrant are quite happy to get the the livery on the car. It gets their name in front of more eyes. Yeah. So yeah, if you can get the social media right, it's a really good way to draw in some sponsors. Yeah.
Well, best of luck. Thanks ever so much for talking to us.
Cheers.
Senior X30 here at Whilton Mill. It's Oliver Greenall and Caden McQueen on the front row, from Kalai Atkins and Piers Pryor, Lewis Mackey and Luke Watts, Derek Morgan and Lucas Ellingham, and then Harry and Josh Torpey rounding out the top 10. Alex Moody and Teddy Pritchard-Williams from Johnston Cool and Scusa, then Henwood and Grant, and keep an eye out for Charlotte Parker and JP Sleater from the back row of the grid. They'll be wanting to storm forward. So ready, and let's race at Whilton Mill. Brilliant start from the front row of the grid. Caden McQueen chopped across nice and early doors as they battled through the first couple of corners. Lucas Ellingham trying to hold it on the outside, not without losing too much time, and that is backwards through the field. The Jamaican Kalai Atkins losing grip. Watts on the inside, we're on the outside. Hang on to it, hang on. He tries to go for a move on Dale Boy. Oh dear, Derek Morgan didn't give him any room at all. And there is the 80 just in behind now. That is Jordan Brown. So the field continues to battle through on this opening lap. Everybody just getting a little bit skittish on the first lap or two. And we're still battling. There goes Brown on the inside. That'll do. We're straight back on the inside though. Excellent recovery, and Watts finds a gap on the inside line as well. That'll do nicely. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Still got a few drivers to overtake before we catch up to the race leader, Oliver Greenall. There's Piers Pryor, distinguishable in second place with the pink lid. Only real men wear pink, as we know, Alan.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We keep saying that, Jake, but then we will keep saying it.
Watts on the inside, Brown on the inside as Ellingham gets out wide. Are we going to lose another place to our right? Down to the braking zone for Christmas. We've got to hang on. Round the outside. Oh my goodness, we've made up places. Never mind lose places. Jordan Brown gets boxed in, and that's Moody nearly getting hung out to dry. So we make the bid on the inside. We're through. Alex Moody trying to hang on so that Jordan Brown doesn't get the move. And that's well recovered. Big lunge up the inside there from Josh Torpey on the Litchfield kart, but he's still fighting. Oh, we've gone off. That's Kalai Atkins tangling there with Teddy Pritchard-Williams. So Atkins off on the grass. Unfortunate.
Stu Stratton, Jake, who handles our 360 onboard cameras for us at UKC, has done such a fantastic job this weekend. I don't know how he picks the karts, but the ones he's been picking have delivered action all the way through pretty much. And Lucas Ellingham in this one, doing exactly the same.
Yeah, he just knows where to hunt the battles. There's the move from Jordan Brown. He gets through on the inside of Alex Moody. And in behind them now is the 99. That's Lucas Ellingham, our cameraman. And so we battle away in continued gusto. And there is Torpey just in behind. That is the 70 of Josh Torpey, trying to make his way up to the inside line. Not so much a Torpey as a torpedo making his way through the field at the moment. 37 charges his way through. That's Luke Watts on Lewis Mackey. Lewis Mackey, who had to prioritise his exams rather than a trip to Europe of late. But he's keeping his head firmly on his shoulders. Here we go again. This is Ellingham on board with Ellingham. And now with Torpey right in behind. Alex Moody is the man in front. Through Oblivion. Don't get too wide. Up Fine Lady and along Manuel's Bank. Into Christmas, we're going to make the bid, are we? Lovely overtaking move as we now head out of the kink and up towards Inkermans. You can see just how much travel the camera itself has through each of these corners, just with a vibration. Nice lunge there from Torpey as he gets through on the inside line. So 37 is Watts, 23 is Mackey. Slight issue with the timing screen on this one. We haven't actually got live timing at the moment.
The timing actually doesn't tell us anything. It tells us Luke Watts is leading.
There's Torpey. Torpey's coming through on the inside, makes the lunge on Casper Scusa. Scusa fights back on the inside through the toe of the boot. Opens the door wide for Moody, Pritchard-Williams and Harry Torpey all to get through. Excellent racecraft from Casper Scusa. He will not be intimidated. This is excellent stuff, and he holds on to, I think that's 8th position as the rest of the field squirms its way through down to the braking zone. A big lunge on the inside there from Robert Parker. He can't make it stick though, and he's battling with a 56. That's Matt Grant. Big lunge on the inside again coming in. That looked like Alex Johnston trying to get through. So everywhere you look, there's great overtaking moves. There's the man in 8th. That's the 7 of Casper Scusa. So behind, we've got this terrific tussle still. Oh, bit of a squabble there. Teddy Pritchard-Williams trying to hold on to 10th position as he dukes it out there with the 173 of Harry Torpey. And it's every man for himself. Pritchard-Williams trying to come around the outside of Josh Torpey. Diving on the inside. Alex Johnston makes the gap come alive. The 17 in there as well. That's Oliver Henwood. So there's everywhere you look great overtaking moves as Piers Pryor gets the move on Delboy for 3rd.
What a race. What a race. Alex Johnston put himself in position in the toe of the boot to do himself a brace coming out and did so. And, well, amazing race so far. Again, we say the timing tells us that, according to the timing, Luke Watts on the 37, there he is, he's leading. But clearly
he's in 5th, which is close, but it's not quite the lead of the race yet. I mean, maybe it's prolific. Maybe it's trying to figure out what's going to happen in a few laps. Could well happen. Luke Watts is not one of the slow drivers in the field, that's for sure. But Piers Pryor is currently in 3rd, having just got past Derek Morgan. Out in front, it's still Ollie Greenall. We're on board with Lucas Ellingham. That is Jordan Brown in front. Going up to the Christmas corner. Will he get the move this time? He has a late look, but gets there. Jordan Brown has to resist, otherwise there was going to be an incident between the two of them. And that's pure intimidation from Lucas Ellingham as they continue to charge forward out of Ashby on the run to Parker. And then they will drop down through the left-hander into this corner, into Chapman. There's Piers Pryor, still hanging on in 3rd position. Pryor ahead of Delboy. Lucas Ellingham on the back straight. Let's listen. Not a lot of wheel spin there. It's good to see that Lucas Ellingham's just keeping it nice and tidy on the run to the boot. They get back on the power along the main straight. Through Crook, flat left. A little bit of a dip of the brake into Oblivion through the right-hander, then up towards Manuel's Bank. They go along this long straight into Christmas, and then it's a big stop on the brakes. Just keep the car travelling as much as humanly possible on the exit of the course. Then up through Inkermans, 2 wheels in the air there from Lewis Mackey. He's pushing hard in behind Watts, and they come out of Ashby, back on the charge. Here's Oliver Greenall. He's had the quietest race out front. It's all kicking off behind, but he's on his own in front of Caden McQueen.
He's in a completely different postcode to everybody else where this race is concerned at the moment. It's a pretty full grid, but look at that for a lead, and look at that for a lead from second to third as well.
Yeah, Greenall and McQueen have absolutely checked out to the rest of the field. This is unheard of in X30, particularly in the senior field when it's all ridiculously close quarters between them all. But out in front, it is Greenall from McQueen. Here comes the move again from Derek Morgan. He gets through on the inside of Piers Pryor, and they battle for supremacy. Third and fourth. Excellent racing between the two. 5 minutes 23 on the clock. Pryor's back on the inside into Ashby. Runs out wide. Morgan gives him the gesture. Well, that didn't work, did it, mate? Excellent banter.
Great racing. This is what karting is all about. This is why it's the most exciting of four-wheel motorsports.
So they continue to charge forward. Derek Morgan and Piers Pryor banter on track, and even one hand off the steering wheel as they go through. There is Greenall and McQueen. Morgan third. Then you've got fourth place Piers Pryor. Fifth position Mackie now. He's got past Watts. So that's interesting. Ellingham's got up into seventh position. I think he's now being caught, actually. So Ellingham is there in seventh place. And who's that in eighth? That is Jordan Brown. So Kasper Skuza in ninth position now. That's as a courtesy of Ellingham and Jordan Brown recovering up through the field. So a good little tussle between them. 4 minutes 33 on the clock. Our timing screen will come back, but we're still keeping on hand of what's happening on the racetrack regardless. Lewis Mackie, they're in fifth position in the 23, the Fusion Motorsport, hustling in behind Piers Pryor, who is still holding on to that fourth position for the moment, but Lewis Mackie getting very hungry into the toe of the boot. I think he's going to take great chunks off the back bumper if he's not careful. Onto the main straight. Where's the move? Where's the move? It's going to come at Christmas, no doubt. Quick through Oblivion. And Lewis Mackie's going to hunt down Piers Pryor. Here comes the move onto the inside line. Textbook, nailed it. Absolutely perfect from Lewis Mackie. There's not a lot that Piers Pryor can do in retaliation. Will he make another charge back, though, into Ashby? He's not close enough this time. Hasn't quite been able to get the run off the turn to be able to make the retaliatory move. So now Luke Watts is there in sixth position, looking for his own charge to get into the top five. Piers Pryor with the luxury of knowing this circuit like the back of his hand, of course. He really does know his way around this place. It's his local track, but then that's probably one of the reasons why Caden McQueen is so far out in front. This is practically McQueen's back garden.
Here comes Watts. Runs Pryor wide in the final turn. Pryor was lucky not to hit the barriers there, to be fair.
That is as close as you can get to running the gauntlet without scraping the barrier, and Watts gets through. Pryor coming straight back at him. Watts charging across. That was absolutely brutal from Luke Watts. And Pryor gestures, what are you playing at?
What's he doing? He's trying to hold on to the place is what he's doing.
Well, it's interesting because I think Ellingham edges Pryor onto the grass. Does Pryor have a bullseye on his back or what?
And then he loses another place.
Brown's going through, Skuza's going through.
Oh, Piers Pryor
now
going
Skuza
backwards.
on the grass.
Was on the grass.
Dear oh dear, I think Piers Pryor's clearly made himself an enemy somehow. I'm not quite sure what he would do. He's one of the nicest men in the paddock.
Yes.
But certainly Piers Pryor being hung out to dry at various points around the course. Kasper Skuza just making sure his wheels still look wheel-shaped after his trip onto the grass. But Watts, I'm not sure what he was playing at. I suppose kart racers, you know, they do drive differently to Formula One drivers. Pryor might think, well, he was in the braking zone and he was moving in the braking zone. Yeah, we don't have rules about that in karting. It's not really a thing.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Jake, looking back on that incident, I don't think Luke Watts did anything wrong, to be fair.
So charging across into the braking zone, and Pryor was not really expecting it. Watts is there. There's Ellingham. And then you've got Pryor still battling away with Jordan Brown. Now here's Lewis Mackie. He's caught Derek Morgan. Goodness me, he's got pace. So Lewis Mackie trying to get into third position, past Del Boy. So Lewis Mackie doing his best to try and get into third position. Now can he make it? He's still got plenty of time, as you can see on the timing clock on the left. Here we go. Mackie charging through. Excellent stuff. So clearly he's missed karting. He's been focusing on his exams, because obviously you have to do that. You do have to focus on your education. It's a very important element for young race drivers. You can go out on track week in, week out and get a result or two here and there. That's one thing, but you've got to prioritise your education. And Lewis Mackie obviously having to do that recently rather than take a trip out to continental Europe. But he's back in the Ultimate Karting Championship and he's lost none of his speed. That's what the hunger has given him, you see. A couple of days away and now he is charging away.
No drone in this one, because early on in the race it looked like it was raining. It was spitting early, although not enough to put wet tyres on. They've all got slicks on. But you can see now the sunshine's come out. How beautifully manicured is this track?
So There is Morgan still hunting down Lewis Mackey to try and get himself back into third position. Derek Morgan using helmet colours very reminiscent of that of vintage Lewis Hamilton. It's not quite the same design, but it certainly looks very spectacular out on the circuit. The Union flag into, or the Union flag-esque into very different colours. Now we lost someone there in the field. Yellow flags are out. Couldn't quite see who that was parked at the side of the road, but Lewis Mackey still battling here with Derek Morgan, and Lewis Mackey trying to get well clear in third position. This is a surprising race in Senior X30. Ah, there's the timing screen. Welcome back. Oliver Greenall, fastest lap of the race, 44.946, and that gives you an idea of the gap. It's Lewis Johnston-Cool who's just pulled off the circuit to retire, and Robert Parker was the one who was out just then, so it was Robert Parker.
I was just going to say it was Robert Parker. It was 20-something, and there's only 23 and 24. We can see Mackey on screen, so it wasn't Lewis Mackey, so it had to be Robert Parker, and it is.
But look at the gap between Greenall and McQueen, 3 seconds. That's unheard of in X30, even around this place. Greenall's doing an absolutely sensational job in front of McQueen, and McQueen, this is effectively his back garden, of course, because the Croc Promotions team are based here at Whilton Mill. This is their HQ, and Lewis Mackey is 6.6 seconds off Greenall, a full 3.7 away from Caden McQueen in second place. Absolutely unheard of. Oh, there goes Super GT. There goes Steve Brown, trying to make his way on the inside, the quadrant back driver. Lando Norris's esports team, and Steve Brown is going to be in the Ultimate Karting Championship for an entire campaign. Good to see him back in karting again. And there is Lewis Mackey, third position, Derek Morgan, fourth place. Oliver Greenall, though, what a performance, absolutely charging away. We've barely seen him in the entire race. We've barely seen Oliver Greenall, but that is always a good thing if you're the driver in the car, because even though you don't get much television time, it means that you're dominating out front. Last lap begins, and he's just been absolutely romping away out front. Caden McQueen second, and Lewis Mackey still third, battling with Derek Morgan. Now, here's the big question. How big a gamble does Derek Morgan take on the final lap? Does he banzai to get a place on the podium, or does he consolidate and go for points?
No, I think he'll go for it. If Lewis Mackey gives him half chance, I think he goes for it, because it's third place, it's the podium. I know it's the opening round, and there's only points scored in these finals, but I think somebody of Derek Morgan's quality will go for it, given the opportunity.
Plus, it's Mackey and Morgan, two of the most ruthless drivers out there, and of course they're going to go for it, so we'll see when he makes the move. But here's Oliver Greenall, out of the final turn, takes the checkered flag, dominant, absolutely dominant. It barely looked like an effort for him. Caden McQueen in second, who's going to get third? It's Mackey. Morgan does his best, but Mackey gets there. Fifth place for Watts, sixth for Ellingham, and seventh for Pryor, who must be feeling like a bit of a pinball out there. He's had everything pounded at him all race long. So Piers Pryor will obviously have to fight back in round two. Victory for Oliver Greenall from Caden McQueen and Lewis Mackey. Luke Watts in P4 from Lucas Ellingham. Then Derek Morgan P6 in front of Piers Pryor. Jordan Brown fighting his way into the top 10. Teddy Pritchard-Williams and Joshua Torpey fighting their way back there after an epic scrabble. A great start to Senior X30, and more to come in round two.
Well, how about that? Those X30 seniors there really letting their experience and speed show. And in the end, there was really only one man who was doing the business, and that was Oliver Greenall, wringing the neck of that Synergy chassis there for Fusion Motorsport. A dominant victory for him. Let's find out what he had to say when I caught up with him afterwards.
I just managed to get a gap at the start. I sort of adapted to the conditions a bit better, and got my gap, and then was fast enough just to keep it. So it's been a really strong weekend, my first weekend in UKC. So I'm overall happy with the weekend, how it went. So yeah.
You might be forgiven for thinking that this is not a competitive class after seeing Greenall romp away with victory there from Caden McQueen, who's well clear from Lewis Mackey in third. But I can assure you, you would be wrong. If this was a book, there would be chapters still to be written and drama to unfold. Join us in part 4 for the Army Cadet Final, where Freddie Lloyd tries to channel his brother Alex's World Championship winning mojo by wearing his helmet. As Freddie Krueger might say, are you ready for Freddie?